This is Cate Stillman with the Thrive with Cate podcast, formerly the Yogahealer podcast. I'm here with a dear beloved. We're gathered here today. Elsie Escobar with her updated 2026 bio that Gemini generated for me. I feel like this is like our 10th podcast or something over 10 or 15
Forever.
years.
It's
Yeah.
been a long time that we've been doing this, Cate. We should be better at it.
We're great at it. We're good enough.
Yes.
I don't know. It's like given what? Given that we're both raising amazing children and whatever,
True.
and making money and doing cool shit, and we still
Yeah.
have our practices,
It's true. Yes.
some things. Okay, so Elsie Escobar is a Hall of Fame podcaster, a community strategist, and voice-centered mentor. She is a native of El Salvador, and she began her journey in the arts as a stage and screen actor before becoming a pioneer yoga teacher, which is where we met, of course. In 2006, she launched Elsie's Yoga Class, which became one of the most successful independent podcasts in the health and wellness space with over 4 million downloads. That's a lot. Okay, and I just really remember like throwing my mat down next to, I don't know if we were in LA or in Arizona or whatever, where we're like, oh my gosh, we have a lot of fun together. And we had kind of similar bodies in a way where we're like strong and muscular, like like you were in your like fitness yoga stage and I was in my like
Yes.
trimmer coffin down stage. And I just remember like we had fun and we were both intellectually interesting to each other. So that to me, it was probably maybe before 2006, maybe it was 2005,
Yeah.
something like that. And then, when you found out what I was doing online in '08, and then you go to Libsyn and you're like, girl, you need a podcast. And you were right, because I had all my audio files in my blog, just for the record. Yep, I was sharp like that back in the aughts. Okay,
Yeah.
then you become a foundational leader at Libsyn. You're the director of community and content and the co-host of the industry standard podcast, The Feed, which was like a big deal because Libsyn was the industry standard, right? And so like how
Hmm.
do you podcast? And that's what you were doing. And at the same time, you were growing She Podcasts with Jess, which is the world's largest community for women and non-binary audio creators, aka podcasters. Okay, so now you've shifted. You've stepped down from your leadership role at She Podcast in January 2024. You guys, I'm reading this as like this is news because Elsie and I haven't caught up in like 2 years, and I'm like, really? Okay. And I've been totally I've been like out of the loop big time. With like cancer and with this hip replacement, and then with growing new brands with Club Thrive and Wellness Pro Academy. So like we just, it's been a minute. Okay. And so then you also transitioned, and this is what caught my eye, I think on Facebook, that you transitioned from a gazillion years, 15 years at Libsyn. And now we both have, I have a high school senior. Is your oldest a high
Yes.
school senior? Yeah, we both have high school
Yes.
seniors. And then you
Yes.
also have a sophomore?
Yes-ish. Yeah, she's 14,
Oh,
going on
okay.
27. So I'm not actually sure where she lies. She's just in that, like, yeah, whatever we believe she is at the moment, that's where she is at the moment.
That's where she is. Okay, exactly.
Yes.
And age is a fiction anyways, as is time. So we'll just go with that. All right. So are you still doing E-League, your mentorship program?
Yes, I totally am. I am so totally doing that.
So
Yes,
now,
still.
like, are all chips in are on E-League, which is your mentorship program for impact-driven creators to align their content with their deeper purpose?
Yes, and that's the thing that's kind of shifting a little bit more into the voice-led, what I call voice-led leadership, and also leaning a little bit more into the transitional stages, because what keeps people coming back to the E-League
Mm.
is that they're usually going through a big shift, and a lot of the women that I've been working with in that program have been with me for decades.
Wow.
Or over a decade. So they'll come and do another round,
Yeah.
and they're going through something else. So that's so wonderful. So I have a little framework, or just podcast episodes where it's very high level, tapping into their foundation, like their big why, like what's their ground level, like what are they made at, like what's their sap, right? What are they like, what's that core thing?
Yeah.
And then they revisit it, and then they make choices again, and they go off and they do their thing, and then they come back and they go, okay, now what? Right. So it's always evolving, and that's why it's so exciting to have them. Although what I've noticed, okay, I don't know if you've noticed this at all, is that a lot of the people that I've been working with, because I've been working them for such a long time, they're now gotten to a place where they're like, I'm no longer that person that started this work at all.
Mm.
So I don't, even though they have success,
Mhm.
even though they're doing well, even though they're incredible, they've established themselves as experts in their industry. And then they're like, okay, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. But they have tied up their whole identity and all of this time and attention, and it just invested so much that they feel like, what happens now if I let it go? Am I still relevant? Who am I to the other people, not to themselves? But there's like a feeling of like, are they going to forget me? I I don't want that to happen, but I also don't want to be that anymore.
Yeah. I went through
So
it. I mean,
yeah,
in 2022, like, right when had I didn't know I had cancer, but I had this, like, bleeding tumor of a uterus, and I was like, "I'm done with Yogahealer." I like, "Peace out."
yeah,
20 years branded, right, to that
yeah,
name, that nomin that yeah, that nomiker what is it called? Yeah, that name, and having this, like, I'm that and this primal, right? Which is it's not just coming from one culture. It's coming from all the cultures. It's
hmm
going like one step. It's like pre-Vedic, but it's also pre everything else. Pre-ag culture, like just pre-cultural in so many ways. And then how do I create new brands? And then like what happens? And then there is this like this letting go into the unknown. And I think that letting go into the unknown is in every heroine's journey. It's in every mythic archetype for women. It's like you can't do it with your feet on the safety shore. You have to go into the ocean. Like you have to leave the known for the unknown, or you end up compromising the next bigger vision of yourself. So like there has to be more faith in the sap. I love how you said it. I just think of people being like, is that an acronym? No,
I
she's
know.
talking about the sap of a tree.
Yeah, I know the literal sap that, the sap.
Right? And it's like you
Yeah.
have trust in the sap more than the last version of your identity, which culture wants you to perpetuate because culture is based on you perpetuating that. It's based on, your current relationships are based on who you've been in the past, largely, not who you're becoming in the unknown future, because that's got
Mhm.
way too much vata energy. It's too risky. Right? It's not secure. But once you get to the, like, you cannot live with that in yourself. Like, you cannot live with the integrity rub anymore of, like, upholding a past identity that's outdated, that you're willing to fly. Like, you're willing to let go of security and safety and how other people have known you in the past, even if it flops, like, even if it fails, even if it falls apart, because like, you're just more interested in the journey of becoming than the security of who you've already been.
And I mean, that's the interest, but it's also the scary part, right? It's
Fuck
that
yeah.
thing that it takes so long, and that's the other thing that I've
No,
noticed
and let's
too,
not
that
romanticize it at
no,
all, because it sucks.
it sucks, and it's time. I can't say it's time bound. We think that once you decide and you go like, well, this doesn't work for me anymore, it's just time to move on, and like you just do it the next day, and that's not the way it works. It usually takes months, possibly a year of coming back to it again, and like working through it again, and moving towards it and then moving away from it. It's like a whole push pull. It's a whole thing, and there are times when something does happen. Sometimes externally something comes that
Mm.
basically tells you, it's kind of like giving birth where there's no, I'm kind of a mom, or something like that. It's like you all of a sudden you're like, okay, this here we are, right?
Hello.
Hello. So that is like, obviously that's a very physical thing that happens, but sometimes that does happen, like, when we have disasters that come into the world, or you get, let go from your job, right?
Yeah.
Like
So what was the
stuff like,
transition? Let's talk about your 2. So you had She Podcasts and Libsyn.
yeah. So with She Podcast, it was one of those things where Actually, you know what? It all begins really with my kids.
Hmm.
My teenager needed me. Um, and I didn't have the capacity to do anything outside of put my head down, do my job, and take care of my child.
Mhm.
And she needed me present and 100% there. Like there was no there was no like I can't half parent this kid right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it
Can't dial
was
it in.
yeah. And I could not in any way, and I kept thinking, if I'm giving my wisdom and my love and my energy to nurture all of these people online and my kid isn't getting any of that, that's just it doesn't add up. And my husband was really the mirror for that, where he was just like, I can't watch you do that anymore. You know, that was part of the thing because she needed both of us. Like it was one of those things where we just had to be present. And it kind of drove it home because it was an easier path for me. It was an easier path for me to help strangers in the internet,
Yeah,
you know? And
yeah.
so
Well,
I had
culture
to
wants us to do that. Actually, I'm writing a book on that right now. It's like I'm rewriting all the goddess myths.
oh my
It's like
gosh.
because culture wants us to, not walk the path, like not
Yeah.
really become empowered, nor empower our daughters, like not from the core. It's all this superficial level of like
Yeah.
it's all for the corporation, right?
Yeah.
There's been so many good books on this, like Reclaim Women, etc. So
Yeah.
can you share what was going on or not really?
I'm trying to figure out a wonderful way, not a wonderful like a words where she was struggling with self-harm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
And for yeah, it was like it sent my I'm still haven't recovered by the way, which is another conversation, but it was the beginning of a real I've always been very much Vata imbalanced.
Mhm.
And from like from like 2019, 2020, like with the She podcast situation that happened at that, we the pandemic and live events, anybody that was putting live events during that time and
Oh,
had hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line that weren't really mine. They were not mine. But, that was like starting to turn up the sort of volume of my nervous system. And I was like shoving everything down, just trying to like, I just need to make it. And then in comes my kid and turns that sucker up to a degree where it was like life or death for all of us, all hands on deck, like not turning away, like it was a lot. And that went on for a while, and we're on the other side of all of that, but it was really not something that I could show up and podcast with Jess about. It was not something I could show up and be a leader because I was broken on the end. I was like in a state of fear. Like I had to ground myself and I was having a hard time doing that. How was
yeah.
I going to be able to do that for her? And it was like this just state of it was a lot. So that was a huge, and so that is my biggest transition was I have to step away
Right.
from leading something that is not demand. It demand when you lead an organization, it demands you to be showing up as a leader. Like you lead through your energy.
Yeah.
You
And you're
know,
thinking
it's
about it, like, you're just thinking about it. It's just the mind does not work, like, some sort of, like, 9 to 5 schedule. It's like the mind is just so energetically where you're extended in that domain, you're just extended in that domain while that's on that it's like these, sub-dharmas, if you will,
yeah,
right? And it's like, wow, that's one of them. It's just on the radar and your ojas, right? Your energetic body is getting tapped for that and too much.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay, and so
yeah.
then that was clear, and then what about with Libsyn?
With Libsyn, it was a slow death. It was like one of those things where I think, obviously I stayed for such a long time because it was comfortable and it also provided me with health insurance, which
Yeah.
is a huge, like, it really is, like, it literally was that.
Yeah,
I had health insurance. I
yeah.
had health insurance because I had to get my kid to therapy. And so it paid, thank God she was able to go to therapy for like almost a year and a half. And that was great.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to have health insurance. It was that. It was like head down, let me just push through all of these things, and what was happening organic at the organization, it also completely shifted. The place that I started working at was not the place that I left at all. It's just
Right.
so much happened to that organization. It became unbelievably corporate, something that I had never really experienced before. Before it was like an, it was just not an indie thing. Well, yeah, it was like a total indie thing. It was
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're just doing stuff.
Yeah, I remember
And
meeting Rob kind of, yeah, and then
yeah, it was just like, "Rawr," and then
yeah.
it became really like, and there was like a lot of money at at stake, and then everything leaned heavily, heavily, heavily towards advertising.
Yeah,
And monetization, just
yeah,
actually not monetization, because monetization, as you know, is so much. Like, there's so many different ways you can make money. There's so many business way, like there's so much. But this was a very specific. It's like programmatic ads, host read ads,
mhm.
ad deals,
Yeah, yeah,
selling
yeah.
back, like just very this much. And that's not the conversation that I want to have. Like
Right.
that, I, and yeah, it doesn't serve most people. It
No,
serves the top 0.1% of all podcasters can have that conversation. The
right.
rest of the podcasting industry cannot have that conversation, nor would this conversation even work for them. They'd be making maybe $3 to $4 a year. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Like, they can
why
almost get
would
a cup of coffee once.
why would you
Right.
why would you
Wow.
do that?
It's
And
so
so,
there so there's no sap in the mix there at
oh,
Libsyn
hell no.
Health Insurance, which I feel like this podcast is brought to you by Crowd Health. I'll put us some link and some more information in the show
Yeah.
notes on that.
Yeah,
Love
but I
Crowd
mean,
Health.
but it's different when you make
Uh,
your own deal. Anyway, it's a completely
yeah.
different thing. All that to say that I was scrambling to do things that I had never done before,
Mm,
per the requested from my,
yeah.
from leadership. And I was in a state of, I don't even know, like, they took away everything that I really excel at,
Yeah.
all the front facing stuff, all the communication stuff, all of the content, like stuff, teaching things, all the educational stuff, all the live event things, all of the recording, all of the things that I love. It's like, why are you doing that? Because we literally built this entire
Right,
thing
and if
off
you're
of
an
that.
advocate, because like, that's another one of your zones of genius
Yeah.
is advocate, right? And
Uh-huh.
that they're just, like, corporate, they don't want an advocate for
They
what
don't
they're at.
want,
They don't want that, so then
they
you're just
just
kinda getting
wanted,
squeezed out.
yeah, they wanted, what everything that I presented, like, how are you going to measure it? Where is this going to go? Like, it has to be optimized. It has to be this. It has to be
Right.
the other. And I'm like, I don't even like. I've never been that into it. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I like SEO. I think it's smart. I think everybody needs to know bits and pieces of all those things. But this was like way in the weeds, like
yeah,
Google Console and
yeah,
lots of things. And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
And
just
this is happening, I see this because in Club Hero, which is, like, our insider, it's, like, mid-career women and Club Thrive, we just see this, like, across all industries happening.
yeah.
It's
And
just like women are like, "Do I collect the paycheck and the insurance and sell my soul to
Mhm.
the devil, or am I or how do I save my how do I work within this paradigm, or how do I transition into what I really how I really wanna spend my life force, like, what I
Yeah.
really wanna do with my Shakti prana."
Yeah,
And we use a
absolutely.
lot of strategy because it's not clear. It's not just like jump, and hope.
No, no, it takes a lot of, it takes a lot of work, but regardless, I was
Yeah,
feeling it, like, internally, and
yeah,
it was built, and again, so that was, again, building even more nervous system stuff for me, like, just in fight or flight all the time. Like, I don't think I've ever been that turned on, as in, like, my immune system was on
yeah.
high alert, like,
Adrenaline addiction,
all
the whole
all
9
the
yards.
stuff. It was so bad. And then, there was, like, I very distinctly remember in October, my, whatever, I didn't even what do you call him, the dude, the VP guy. I had a meeting with him and he was so mad at something that I had not done. And he wasn't yelling at me, but there was, I could like, I was like, "Oh, something's like, but I felt it, and I had a huge breakdown, like, massive breakdown, because I couldn't put myself together after that anymore. Because I was like, I feel like I can't, I have no value. Like, I don't know if I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I was at such a state of, I don't know. And, within a month, they let me go. So it was not great. Yet it was something that everybody knew needed to happen. Like, I knew it needed to happen. I just never made the choice, like the active choice to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was not great.
I mean, it's interesting though how like it's like in cycles it happens, right? Like in cycles if we don't it's like if we don't make the whatever move, it happens for us. Like there's that to me there's that law of nature with that. Like there will
Speaking
be another generation, right? And it's like if we're not changing and adapting and for you that would have been to change and adapt out and that was the clear message, right?
Oh my gosh, it was so clear.
It happens, then there's the shedding, then there's like the forced initiation into the unknown.
Yeah. It was interesting because it's like I couldn't put myself back together. And you always go back to at least what gone back to in terms whenever I'm in those spaces, you always go back to spirit, you always go back to prayer,
Yeah.
meditation, quiet, like at least for me. I mean,
Yeah.
not to say all people, but for me, in
Yeah.
times of like
Yeah.
this is my go-to. So
Yeah.
I decided to bring out the big dogs for me,
Mhm.
which was I have I'm Catholic. How do you say it? Cradle Catholic, right? I haven't been practicing Catholic in a long, long time. But my family and from Latin America, and there's a huge love for the Virgin Mary,
Mhm.
like massive. So the rosary has been part of my life for a
Mm.
long, long time. Like it's been forever it's everywhere, right?
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to bring out the big dogs. Not just a rosary, but I'm going to do the 54-day novena, which is saying a novena, a daily novena for 54 days. And so you do half 27 are in petition and then 27 are in gratitude. And then the prayer is a total of about, depending on how fast you pray, between 45 minutes to an hour every day of like nine novena. Like it's a huge thing, right? And there's all of these prayers like tied
54
to
hour
it.
commitment. It's like
It's like a long, right? So I had it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna do this thing because it's when you're like, and so I started in that October, and within the process of like almost hitting the petition, please help me. I don't know what to do. This was all about my job. I was like in the process of that, and I was like, thank you so much. I so appreciate the push because it was like it wasn't, because it was literally like I don't know what my next step is. I am, all of the things that you put yourself down and you like give it all up, right? You're just like Ishvara Pranidhan, like you just
yeah.
like you're just there,
Mm.
and therefore that energy is there, and the larger comes in, the universal comes in and goes like, here,
Yeah.
that way. Okay. And so to me, when that happened, I didn't fall. It was like, oh,
Mm.
okay, that's very clear. Thank you so much.
That
That was,
process of digestion of that of like in detox in Ayurveda, it's a digestive process. Like everything's
uh-huh.
a digestive process, like where it's like you process it. Trauma
Yeah.
is a digestive process, right? It's not just like a get over it. It's like go through it. The obstacle's the way. Like we go through the pain of it and like I've had to like redo cosmic like psychically redo the surgery of my hysterectomy to, like,
Mm.
process it, to process the trauma, and it's like that it's so cool that you did that ritual, right? It's like, what is the sacred ritual that, like, comes in, we honor it, we
Hmm.
commit to it, it's hard, it requires time and energy, it's not doom scrolling, right, or whatever,
Yeah.
and we do it. Do the practice, abhyasa.
Yeah. And yeah.
So I had a similar it's interesting. I feel like this like women transition who's like we both work with women in these like massive life-changing transitions or those who know
Yeah.
they need to but they can't yet or whatever. So I had in the last I think it was like 2024 and 2025, maybe it started in 2023. Complete tech stack change, team
Oh,
change.
yeah. Yeah.
right? So it changed all the technology in the entire team. And it was like a 24-month, it was not fast. I went through like a lot of higher fire iterations to find the right, like to figure it out. Like, how am I going to be? Because I'm definitely a technologist, like you and I
Yeah.
are not afraid of technology.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like really ready for what's next. And I've created this just enormous body of work, right? Where I have huge courses, 7 books, like, there's just so much content, and, like,
Yeah.
this is going from the past into the future, and, like, I'm ready to throw it all out, but I also get that it's like whack-a-mole. Whenever I try to, like, throw it out, it just pops back up again. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
pops up again, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, well, that's what's coming. That's what's happening as I'm working the process, working the practice." And then, somewhat like magically, like the aha of like after going through this, the pain of that, the pain in the ass of that is like sick. Now we're here. Next
Yeah.
phase, like new floor, tech stack, people, strategy. It looks nothing like it looked in 2023. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe somewhat to the outside, it doesn't look like anything, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But on the inside, it's just a completely different experience.
Yeah. It's and I I think that you came at it from a because you know about tech, or the technologist of it all, because it isn't just tech. It's not the computers, right? It's so much bigger than that. Technology is just so much more. And so when you came to it and you've seen, I think that at least for me, what I've watched is, first technology was like that, like as we started off, it was the gap seemed to be that big, like really big, wide space to get from here to here. Whereas every year things start to go like this. Now it feels like you have to, it starts to get closer and closer and closer, and things are changing a little bit. Now I feel a little bit too fast because we don't get an opportunity to digest what you're actually getting because it's just so much. There's no, at least my experience has been the expertise in using tools and workflows and something that you can really become an expert in. It changes. Like it's no longer relevant, like within a couple months. And you're
Yeah.
like, great, I just learned all that, but now what? Right.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
sending me to understand what are the core principles of every tool,
Yeah.
that we're using. And so
Yeah.
if you get those tools, if you get that tooling right, it feels to me that you can orient yourself in whatever environment you choose to build around you in the technology space right now.
Yeah.
Basics.
I mean, and I'm a future, like my personality type. I'm a lot of like
Yeah.
futurist
Yeah.
innovator.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this like for a while because I was, like being an ancient wisdom because I, specialize in ancient wisdom and
Yeah.
prime
Yeah.
habits. And then it's like, it's a pretty bizarre paradox. And I think
Yeah.
everyone has these bizarre paradoxes, right, within ourselves. And the more we can bring those together, not trying to mush them in the middle, but by them living in their extremities and us navigating the width and depth that
Yeah.
that paradox brings us in is like, I'm just so and which is what I want to say is like the reskilling, reskilling a team, like, complete turnover of every system, of every person, of every tech tool. Like the insanity of that after 20 years in business was crazy. But I also had this, and I think cancer really helped me with this. And then the like what felt like the abduction of my female parts until until I psychically redid the surgery on myself and went through
Yeah.
the forgiveness and the gratitude for saving my life,
Yeah. Yeah.
was that when we can, when we can just not be attached to how things were in the past, it goes in the most unbelievable places. So now, like, the way that we're able to use, like, who's on my team and how we're using technology to bring this ancient wisdom and this, like, heroic, mythic journeys forward in women is so freaking cool, and it's really advanced. And it's like one of those, like, slow down to a screeching halt in order to like actually then you're on like the high speed train later. Like it's so paradoxical in so many ways right now, the
Yeah.
technology. But I find so many people are unwilling to take the journey of the now, of like
Yeah.
really required right now. And and we just want things to be as they were in the past, or we're clinging to something in the past that's like, it's not that now, you know? It's
Yeah.
not, culture doesn't seem to be going back to the way things were in the 1980s or in like the aughts or in the teens or in the COVID time. It's like, it's very this like yoga is very now. The technology,
Mhm.
like you were saying, it's dynamic
Mhm.
at this point. So it's no longer like these static tools that we're using. It's like, how do we learn to be, and then how is like the human and the idea, like how is that more important than ever?
That is it's the core. It's the core of it all. Yeah, it absolutely is. I have, in thinking back about how to claim my space and who I am, in what I've been. I mean, it was existential, to think back, like, I don't have anything to show for it. How do people know who I am? Like, there was just like a lot of those questions that were coming up from me and other people. And then being able to do that, I always go back to just what is my own behavior. Like, what are the things that I'm drawn to that I love? And so I gave birth to another brand. It's called Multimodally. I haven't told you anything about this. And it was all based on the fact that the majority of the things and tools and stuff that I use is multimodal. The
Mm,
end. It's like my cameras need to be easily moved from this place to that place because of the way that that I do stuff.
mm,
I have, this thing here, I forgot what these things are called. What are these things called? The mic stands. So there's like the desk stands, right? And that's what people usually tend to have, but the one that I really love is this stand-up one, because I needed to have this stand-up one that I could drag around and I could stand up, and that makes zero sense for a lot of people to have stand up like boom arms like hanging out. But for me, this is multimodal. It is my way of being able to drag it in and put it over there, right? And
mm.
it's the same thing for notebooks that I have. Like one of the notebook systems that I love is called a plotter system. It's a Japanese system.
Um,
It's a ringed system, right? But everything about it, just I was like, that's it, because nope, I love notebooks. They make me so happy. But I always ended up feeling very overwhelmed by not filling a page or filling it too much, or I didn't need this section. Like, now what am I going to do with this other thing? So with this ring binder that I have that can aesthetically makes me happy, I
mm,
can take pages out. I can put pages in. I can switch it from being a planner to being a diary to being a journal to being a note, like, and it's easy and it's small. And there are these tiny little rings, like smallies, like this small, very tiny. And so it makes it very easy to carry. So I'm looking through things that I can use for a variety of different reasons based on my life versus let's build you a studio and put it in the corner.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that feels very like, that's great, but what if I want to record outside? What
yeah,
if I'm traveling?
yeah.
So, there's things like that. And so multimodally is about that. It's about being able to see a well-lived life and building your life around you with the modals that you need at the moment. So you can just take that modal off. You don't need that modal right now. You can put it in the closet. You can just add the modal over here. And now we have it over here. And so I wanted to talk about that because I started to see the through line of that. And that also expands it to be able to see that my life is also multimodal, meaning I've never just been one thing. I was,
Mm.
teaching yoga. That was my identity for a long time. I was a yoga instructor, a yoga person. I was doing all those things. It doesn't necessarily mean that I no longer am that. It just means this other thing
Yeah.
multimodally turned up, right? Then it's like motherhood, then going through like in menopause, then, dealing with the teenagers, then what happens in 5 years when I don't have anybody at home, like all of those are different times. And I think all of us need to have that modality in our lives. And so that's what multimodally is. It's like, I'm
Mm.
making a media business out of it. I don't know what that is yet because it's an interesting space to be in.
Right.
But I find that it is really discovering and having conversations of us moving through the world in this multimodal way where we're
Yeah.
not defined one way, but we can be defined one way and then I don't need that modal anymore. I need the other modal. You know what I mean? It's like vacuum cleaners when when you have the vacuum and you put it on the carpet and then you take that off and then you put the connector thing and you got to do the sealing. Like that's how I view the world. You
Yeah.
sometimes need adjusters and you need a thing to stick it and then you clean the other thing this way and you don't use the same tool sometimes for all of it, but sometimes it can be that.
Mhm.
So
So
that's
it's
what
really
I'm
for people
doing.
to capture their own, to capture what they want to capture for themselves, but also to share what they want to share with others in various mediums.
Yeah. And that's like so that's what it was. To me, it was like, especially now, that's why I shifted the voice that into voice-led leadership because a lot of people are getting really caught up with the medium itself. Like,
Mm.
wait, do I have a
Podcast
wait,
or
am I gonna be using an audio podcast or am I gonna be using video or and I'm just like, listen, that's not what the conversation is.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
conversation
What's the
is
message?
what's the matter? Right. What do you want to say? Like,
Yeah.
what's so if you are avoid, and that's what I tend to see when people are like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I don't have a pod, I don't know if I should work with you, or because of, I don't have a podcast, or I don't know if I want to do video. And I said, people identify as voice led leaders a lot more. If I say, I'm working with voice led leaders, and they'd be like, that's me. Well, then let's do it. And then we can go, how do you work best?
Yeah.
Audio, video, like, and you can change your mind. You can write it. You can
Yeah.
also write. It's like so many things.
So many things. Yeah, that's, and then it's like what's trending next? Like we don't even know. Like right now we've been building agents, and so many,
Yeah.
and it's so fun for our wellness pros and Wellness Pro Academy and now, but it's done in my voice. So I'm still like a voice led leader,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then the modality I'm choosing is agent.
Is
And
exactly.
it's
You don't,
so fun to
it is.
have someone go through my process now, which they used to have to do through consuming content and then processing on their own and generating on their own to like this dynamic, right? This like dynamic way of just being alive and then they can go back to the content. They can go back to the video or the audio or the text file. They can go back to that if they want to do a deeper dive or if they're driving the kids to soccer or whatever and they want to like actually, some of like the teaching points of the lesson or like really kind of get it, like do research is kind of one of the ways I would say it is like then they're more in research mode and like really trying to understand what it is that we just created. And so
Mhm.
then they can add depth to it or tweak or own it more in their own physiology. That's so cool. Like I mean, if we look back, so in Club Thrive, the first lesson they do, it's called like 80-20 in Your Fractal. So we look at the various stages of their life, the evolutions they've gone through, as well as what they shed with each evolution.
Mhm.
So the evolution is the 20%, what they shed is the 80%, following Pareto's principle. And we map out their life in 80-20s, and they're just like,
Wow.
whoa. So then they can
Yeah.
see their what we call their fractal, which is also their trajectory. And so the more they can own these stages and these like leaps and these sheddings, right? The more they get used to that. So then it's less scary. Whatever one they're in right now is a little bit less scary because they're like, I've actually done this, like you did.
Yeah.
Like you and I were yoga teachers when we met.
Yeah.
We're not still
Yeah.
yoga teachers, but
Right.
like we could both teach a hell of a yoga class if we needed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably
You
even
don't,
better than we ever have.
right. No, and yeah.
And then if I look at your fractal, it's like it's this empowering people, getting particularly women to embody themselves and then to advocate. And then from advocate to actually produce engagement, right? Like produce their own little mini movement. And now there's modalities, there's multiple modalities around that. So for me, like that whole arc of that fractal, right? It makes perfect sense. And then if we see like what did each shedding, like there's also a theme to that. There's like men, patriarchy, like misbehavior by individuals power given over to, misbehavior by corporations, power given over to, like roles changing, lack of integrity, right? It's like not
Mhm.
staying with that which lacked integrity, instead moving forward in integrity. To me, I see that as a common theme for you, you know?
Yeah, and yeah, it is absolutely, it's a constant, like, realignment and rediscovering, and I think that there's also an element of it's sovereignty, right, over yourself, which is like
Yeah.
that it's that sense of where it's that's always been inherent in me in the sense of that I never needed Mm, which is bad in some ways. When people need to advise you of things like, you should really do this, or like, I'm not one of those people that I go to somebody else and go like, should I wear this or should I wear this? Like that's never been me. I've always been like, I know exactly what I'm gonna wear. I know the
We've
shoes I
always been
want.
impressed.
Yeah.
The best we've been able to, like, just be in the presence of, like, Elsie in her actress mode. It's, like, the best
I've
outfits ever.
I've never like that's not a thing, right? That's just like a metaphor. Like I always in the same way that I know what outfits I want, what backpack I want, what like thing I want, like it's a I don't have a I don't know what I should do. Like
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is an element of that like it's a humility that comes from that sovereignty that you have to really go in there and go, is this really the most auspicious choice for me at this moment? Or
Mhm.
is it just me wanting to do it because I wanna, right? And so it's like that's a different it's a different energy. And so straddling that to me is pivotal
Mhm.
in being able to make better choices. And I think that now in my older age,
Mm.
that is where I want to be
Mm.
more on the not just pushing through. I don't
Mm.
want that. And it doesn't mean that I become soft. It's just a much more introspective leadership,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm moving towards a place where I don't want you to look at me or I don't want to be seen. I'd rather you all do wonderful things and I can come in once in a while underneath and just be like, la la la, go and do your better things, you know? I don't feel the need to have that outward thing for myself.
Isn't that the best? I'm like, that is the yes of menopause, is like, I
Oh my
don't
God, yes.
right? Like, I don't you all can do that.
I
I'm
know.
good. I'm, like, totally good in my hood.
That's how I feel too. Oh my God. That's
There's a
my
huge
good.
release of that. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting how, and I just look back at, like, these, the, like, getting used to these cycles of these leaps and releases, right? Like, through identity, how, like, we can really get good at it. Like, that's what I've noticed. And in the like, you with the rosary, it's like, we know the rituals that work, like, we know the practices that work. We know
Mhm.
that to be even though it's happening and it's scary, we're a little bit like, yes, but not s and it's not like it's not shaken to the core, it's like shaken to the core and because it's paradox, like, and
Yeah,
knowing that this way is the only way, like, that there's no fitting back into some tight boots or whatever, it's like, "No, I'm gonna wear shoes that fit," like and I
right.
think for me in that, like, even right now, this book I'm writing, it's, Finding Persephone. I was writing today, like, just today, I'm editing the Rewilding Medusa chapter.
Uh-huh.
It is Medusa is such a heavy story. I mean, it is such a heavy I mean, it's way heavier than well, I mean, Persephone's is heavy. They're all heavy in their own
They're
way.
all a lot, Kate. They're
They're
a
all
lot.
they're all a
They're
lot.
yeah.
They're all a lot, and it's all a lot, but it's like her creativity, Medusa's creativity, I mean, and no I feel like nobody knows this, like, her sons are Pegasus and Chrysor, like,
Yeah.
right? It's Prana and Tejas are her offspring, like, it's so intense. It's so
That's
her
a lot.
dharma completely fulfilled. But what does she do in that cave? Once she leaves Athena's temple and she goes into her own cave, she does rituals to herself, for herself, for herself. And then these are the offspring that come when she completely dies, like when she's completely unattached to who she's been in her old story. Culture kills her. And then it's like, you have Pegasus and Chrysor. It's like so beyond, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, that's what always happens when we're willing to let go of the identity, like, we're just really letting to let go of who we the past thing that we just had to do, and for
Yeah.
you, like, she podcast, that's huge, like, that was such a huge part of your identity, huge.
Yeah. It was like there's yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is a random story just to let you
Yeah.
this is weird. My my kid, the one that went through all the things. When she was a year and a half, 2 years old. We would go to the libraries. Of course, we hung out there all the time. I would put her down, like, I don't even know how she found this. She found the myths. She found the myths in the library, not in the baby section, of course. In like they had these beautiful drawings, but she found the books. She took them out and then she started looking through them. Medusa was her favorite. And and she was like, read this. And of course, I'm like, okay, and I start to read it with her and like, of course, not reading it because she's teeny. So I'm not reading the book. I'm like looking at the pictures and describing the pictures and all this stuff. She was obsessed with this Medusa, but with all the blood and all the stuff. And the other one was a Cyclops. That was the other one, but the part that she really loved. We would actively grab her and move her away from the scary section of the books because I was like, I don't want to be, because it was,
It's a lot.
it was a lot. And they were like being read like a regular, like it wasn't like a kid reading.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
myth in the kids section that was for teens or, people in elementary school or something, right?
Yeah.
They were in depth. And it was anyway, I would put her down. She would get to that library and book it. She would find the books and she would get it again and she would bring it to me. And I sat there and I'm like, what is with this book? We have all of these other books.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
would
yeah.
always go to those. But that's always been who she is. She is that raw. Like she's just
Yeah.
whoa, right? I still want to get her that book just to have it so that she can't remember. I don't even know if she
Yes.
remembers.
Remember it.
I don't think
Oh,
she
I'll
remembers.
send her the chapter of Rewilding Medusa. I'd love her,
Yeah.
her take on it. Yeah, because that's the thing, right? So, I mean, I was one of those, like, when I hit mythology, I was, like, all in, all chips in. It took me a while until my teen years. I was like, nothing in this world makes sense until mythology, and I was like, "Oh, there's a story that makes sense."
Yeah.
Because it's so multidimensional, they're so multifaceted, and then it depends on the lens of, like, who's telling the story, right? And then and that's why I'm writing the book, because it's like, these myths are most of them are coming from a command and control operating system, coming from a
Yeah.
masculine paradigm. It's like they're not our daughters don't know the story. We don't know the stories. And because if we knew the stories, this is the thing. If you actually know the story of Medusa, you understand that you will be exiled from the corporation. You will be exiled from culture. You'll be exiled out of a past role, and you'll be scared, and you will not understand your physiology. You'll be exiled from the fertile time of your life into menopause. Like, you will go through these exhalations and you'll be alone
Mhm.
and no one can come. And then you'll find a cave and you'll start to prostrate to yourself. Like, you'll start your own, like, your psyche will find its way back to its power. And then from you, the most amazing creativity will come out. Like, the
Mhm.
most amazing yin yang of creativity, Shiva Shakti of creativity, whatever you want to call it. Like, the opposites will emerge in their most penultimate form. Only if you walk away from the culture, only the institution. And it is Athena, Athens, is the institution of the Medusa myth. It is the goddess of wisdom, is the institution
Oh, wow.
Medusa has to walk away from. It's
Yeah.
culture's embodiment of what the feminine should be that she has to walk away from. And so if we know the story, like your daughter, like, if she knows the story, she's like, of course.
Right.
Of course I had to go through the dark night of the soul. Of course no one could get it. Of course no one could really understand me.
Yeah. It's a goofball. Yeah.
All right. So in I'm just so curious, like, you're moving into this next phase. You're already seeing the phase beyond of, like, children, but you have a 14-year-old. So you're in it. You're in parenting mode for probably a good 4 or 5 more years at
Mhm.
so tell me just more about, like, your day-to-day life of, like, what you want from life now in this next few years. Like, what you
Uh,
want from life as mother, family, as entrepreneur, as yogini.
I think, in the immediate moments right now, I'm still working on my nervous system. That's probably the biggest thing that I have to really reconnect with
Yeah.
because I had it, like I said, it was turned up way too high. And so I'm still I'm still struggling with trying to turn it down. And I find my body responding now in ways that shouldn't be responding when I'm not in danger. You know what I mean? I forgot what was I just doing? I forgot what I was just doing. It was one of those things where I couldn't find I think my kid I had to bring her in here, and she was signing into she had to sign into her Google account into my computer, not her computer,
Mm.
and there was just something a little missing. We were looking for a password, and I
Yeah.
was on my computer over there, and just and I have all of that information. Just the mere act of having to search for this thing that wasn't in front of me immediately turned me on, and, like, I just thought,
Mm.
like, and I wasn't upset at her.
Yeah.
It was just normal. It was just a normal thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I felt my whole body start to tickle because that's when I know I get turned up. So then I thought, why can't I, like, that's interesting. So now I'm letting myself know what's going on a little bit more. Before I would have just ate it up. I wouldn't have noticed it. I was like, it's, oh, that's just what happens. So
Yeah.
that's really big for me. And coming back again to being able to be okay in quiet is something else that I want. So
Ugh.
I want moments of let go. I
Mm.
want more pause in between things. I know it's all like super simple stuff. I don't want to live the life that I was living, which was without pause in between things and tuned up. I can't do that. I
Right?
can't. I and Also stopping my inherent um habits of responding to my children's in ways that aren't helpful. Like where I'm just like, "Did you do the thing? Did you do the thing? Did you
Mm.
do the thing? Did you do the thing? Did you do the thing? You have to do the thing then?"
Mhm.
And it's like I will do that and I can't let it go. It's like it's a compulsive thing that I just go, "Wow, okay. I think she's going to do the thing." Like there has to be another way for me to
Mm.
behave with them. So I think that's what I want. And I know that seems like I feel that once I work on make myself have time in between
Yeah.
moments, I will find easier steps to take, right? I won't be so all wound up. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
adrenaline is like, I need to get a hold of my fucking, excuse me, hormones and like androgens, and I'm drying myself is literally what's happening. And
Yeah.
so I can't do that. I
Yeah.
can't do that anymore.
No. No, and it's so prevalent. Like what you're describing, you're so not alone. I mean, we have in Club Thrive, like half the people come in for heal. And they're like, these are
Yeah.
ambitious women, but it's like, okay, well, we can't do that. We have to heal first.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we have to, and then it's all this trauma, so subtle trauma processing, and just it's the slow, the
It's
deep.
the slow and the
Yeah.
deep. I know.
Mm.
And you
Yeah.
can't, the stimulation right now for this part of your brain with the eyes and the fast and the snippets and the quick information and the
Yeah.
intake, because I'm an intake
Toxic.
person. I've always been an intake person. I love to learn. Like, I'm just like, I learn
Yeah.
all the things I want more. Right. And
Yeah.
it's, I can't, I haven't been able to, like, there's no digestion happening.
No, none, not, and they don't want you
No.
to digest because then you're not consuming. I mean, I've gone back to reading, like, oh, thank gosh, I made it to the other side of that massive desert. Like
Yeah.
reading less stimulates my progesterone, and I like fall asleep. It's awesome.
Well,
So now
that's
my
the
sleep's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. It's so, I mean, yeah. That's what the multimodally of it all too is diving into it's the tech, the media, it's the analog part also that I
I
think
love
is really
that.
important for everybody.
Yeah,
So, and part of it is that kinesthetic, the embodied experience. Like, how powerful that is. But
yeah.
I think that most people
No, no,
don't even have an idea of
if
what
I
that
hadn't
even
had, like,
is.
2 decades of Ayurveda, like, I wouldn't, like, just there's just no way.
Yeah.
It's just missing in our psyches, like, it's just
Yeah.
missing. Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, there's like those are the parts where I just go, "Good Lord, I'm so thankful that I was curious or that I had the path to be able to understand the mind, body, spirit situation."
Yeah.
Where I learned about koshas and like chakras and like just what things are made of, qualities, and the brain and like there's just so much where
Yeah.
you go, oh, and then just the basics of if you have something cold and you're cold and you also eat ice cream, then what do you think's gonna happen? Oh, you're gonna be more cold and you know what I mean? Like there's so it
Yeah.
makes sense. Like it's not
Yeah. Yeah.
magical. It's not
No.
it's so like you're hot. Take something off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
be in the sun. Like just stuff like that where it's real basics.
Yeah. It's huge. No, it's huge. It's huge. And that like you're learning, I just want to say, it's like it wasn't cerebral, it was embodied learning. It was
Yeah.
somatic learning. It was learning on the mat, on the cushion, moving awareness into the that's what Medusa does in the cave, is she just does the inner body work. She does that work on herself. And it's like I think women need to hear that, like, yep, that's what's required. Like
And it
there's
takes
no way around
yeah.
it.
I think you know what the thing that's frustrating to me though is that that is a longing and I think that there's a collective longing for going into the cave. That
Yeah.
there's an element of I know what I need
Yeah.
and I know what I need to do. And then the demands of the world keep reaching into the cave and sort of
Yeah.
stopping shit. Like the actual things, like not like metaphorical. I'm saying, here I am doing the thing like, you gotta answer like somebody just came and knocked on the door because the thing was and you're like,
Yeah.
oh fucking yeah. You know,
Yeah.
and it's that
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Or, you know, I'm starting to do the thing, hey mom, there's no lunch. Oh, yeah, okay. I have to go to the grocery store. You know what I mean? It's like it's that sort of interruptus
Yeah.
where it's challenging. I find it
Yeah.
challenging right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Eh, in not just centering my own needs also, but also the fact that it's not just about me. I wish that I could just go in my cave and do the thing, but in
Yeah.
fact, we are communally we are living together here and everybody has in very important things that they also have to do. And
Yeah.
we can collaborate with each other and we can communicate with each other, which we do.
Yeah.
And also there are things that are dropped, like balls are dropped for each of us where it's not at the optimal, right? We can strive for it. And so it's challenging because there's times where I'm like, oh,
Yeah. I just
I don't
wanna
want
give
to
you
do it.
yeah. I hear
Leave
ya.
me alone. Just
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I find strategy is the other part that's just not developed. Like most of us don't have thinking structures that involve strategy that activate collaborative intelligence. And
mm,
that's a lot. And it's a lot like learning asanas a lot, right? Where, people think they're doing it because they're making a shape, and then you're like,
yes.
asana's important. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like there's this other thing that's happening, and that's what I find with, like, collaborative intelligence and strategy, and we do a ton of strategy in Club Thrive, and it's not easy to learn is the other thing because 'cause we're so used to just communicating the way we communicate and coming up with our own strategy that doesn't actually follow a thinking structure, it's just ideation and brainstorming and communication, and people are just speaking what they're top of mind and bringing up stuff from the past, and it's like, okay, no, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
I learned in business,
Yeah.
thankfully. Like, you learn so much on modality and you're you've
Yeah.
had this, like, multimedia career in so
Right.
many ways, from, like, actress to
Yeah.
star of your own huge podcast to face of She Podcast to face of Libsyn and pushing media out and all these different channels and now into your own version of that. And it's like, those are skills. I don't have those. We've already been through. I don't have those skills. When my husband's like walking around, like changing out of his surf clothes in the background, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a thing, but strategies, it's its own thing. Okay, I wanna honor your time. This has just
Yeah.
been so precious to be with you
Yay.
and your
Cate
reality and
again.
just speaking the truth of it, you know, your experience and
Yeah.
sharing your family. So thank
Yeah.
you, dear Elsie Escobar
Good.
of
Thank
so
you.
what so where do they go for this
Oh my god.
new for the
You can
for
go to
the modality and
multimodally.
for the leadership? Where do you send
You can
people?
actually, you know what? Let's see if this works. Elsie.link/mm. Yeah, let me see. Here we go. And you can, it's a pop-up where you can sign up to get my stuff. But also you can just hit the little X, and then you'll see what multimodally.com looks like there. You can read about me and all of that. I'm slowly building this out. Like I said, it's not too much. But I would, if you read the about page, you can see what I'm trying to develop there. I've got some language in there that I'm still tweaking, trying to really vision how it all fits together, because again, I can see a lot of it. And I think the frustration sometimes is that I know that if in order to really make this work, I have to sit with it, like, because I feel it. Like, I can close my eyes and I feel what it is and all the different levels of what building a futuristic media business looks like, or like a future looking, because there's so many different layers to it. I know so much. I vision so much, and I also want to build something that is how do you say it? Self-funding. And but it's not at scale, actually deeper. To me, I'm thinking, like, if I can create a sustainable, whatever it is, with 200 people, the end,
Yeah,
period.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
Not
200.
scaling.
Yeah. Like, think, not scale.
Yeah,
If
potent.
I can do that, how does I do? And so that's my goal. Lights me up to think, not
Yeah.
scale, small. Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yeah.
And so I'm working with that. But alas, there's other things I have to take care of too, right? So that
Yeah.
creative thing has to go where it goes, and I'm no longer pushing through it. So I'm taking time, and I think I have a private podcast in there, actually, that only people who pay get access to the BTS, all the behind the scenes stuff. Because it's not, I don't want it to just be out. It's not that I want to even pay. I want to paywall it for privacy's sake, not paywall it for knowledge,
Yeah.
sake.
Yeah.
In being able to go through that, and being able to thank folks that have invested in me already, and to know that I'm not letting them down, that sometimes things take time, and that I have integrity. I'm not like sitting here just taking people's money, but it's like what I'm trying to build isn't just what's already been built. And if I push through it, I have to take time to go through it. I have to move from a place of alignment, because it's mine, and I've never had that. This is mine. It's mine, mine, mine. It's my idea. It's my head. It's my all the things. So I want to go through and do it when I'm ready, and I'll slowly put it out. I have goals, but I'm not pushing through them, because I'm going to burn myself out, and I'm not there. I'm not here for that.
Hell no. Hell no. Awesome. Well, I'm thrilled, and we'll catch up when,
Thank
it's in its next evolution and you want to talk about
Yes,
it.
I would love it. It would be amazing. That would be so fun.